Well, good morning. Today's Subcommittee on the Interior, Energy, and Environment and the Subcommittee on Intergovernmental Affairs will examine federal impediments to infrastructure development. Numerous reports over the last decade have documented how burdensome environmental regulations have delayed, if not completely derailed, important infrastructure projects. Today, we'll explore where these regulations have gone wrong in the hopes that we can pinpoint solutions that benefit American infrastructure and development. Under the Clean Air Act, every 5 years, the Environmental Protection Agency is required to evaluate and, if needed, set national ambient air quality standards, and that's called NAAQS, for those of you who don't speak government vernacular, to ensure that pollutants are not hurting public health or the environment. Currently, in my home state of Texas, we've got 2 regions, Dallas and Fort Worth, that are classified as being in non-attainment, which means they don't meet current standards for NAAQS. Because of this, the State Department of Transportation and metropolitan planning organizations located within these 2 regions are obliged to comply with transportation conformity requirements. Failure to do so can result in a loss of federal highway funds for those counties, along with many other issues associated with being in non-attainment. Conformity requirements entail additional analysis to determine how a potential product could impact air quality. These requirements lengthen an already significant planning process by a minimum of 6 months and have resulted in cost delays costing over $65 million just in the Dallas-Fort Worth and Houston regions. By forcing state and local governments to spend more money on burdensome red tape, fewer roads are paved, meaning there's fewer construction jobs and more traffic congestion, which in fact results in more emissions. In October of 2015, the EPA revised NAAQS and lowered the standard for ozone, a recognized pollutant, from 75 parts per billion to 70 parts per billion. Under this proposed revision, the San Antonio and El Paso regions will join Dallas-Fort Worth and Houston in non-attainment, costing even more jobs, running up expenses, and hindering much-needed infrastructure projects. In addition to the non-attainment issues, the National Environmental Policy Act, known as NEPA, has become one of the most burdensome regulations facing project development in America. This law was passed with great intentions almost 50 years ago, but has been expanded by constant tinkering by federal agencies. The time for a full environmental review for a highway project has grown from 2 years to over 8 in some cases. State and local agencies have to navigate reams of federal regulations and an alphabet soup of federal agencies, all of whom need to sign off on a project under NEPA. If they're able to make their way through the process, they often get the added joy of a lawsuit from an opponent, often an environmental activist group, or a not-in-my-backyard group who wants to stall the development or stop all development. While I've addressed highway infrastructure projects, rail, airports, pipeline, oil and gas development, and private sector development all face similar burdens. We have to find a way to stop this paralysis by analysis and get America building again while still protecting our environment. So that's my opening statement, and I'll now recognize our ranking member, Ms. Plaskett, for the Subcommittee on the Interior, Energy, and Environment for her opening statement.